Hi, I'm Dennis, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Normally, I talk about guns, watches, other things, a bunch of junk. This time, I'm talking about what my children asked me to talk about. Understand, I don't like to really talk too much about my time when I was in Vietnam. There's a lot of sorrow, a lot of things that happened there that affected me tremendously. But this one incident I'm going to talk about. It's meeting this gentleman for the first time. His name was Skip Elibroke. He was a warrant officer in the United States Army, and he flew UH-1s, helicopters. And the first time I met him, I was on the flight line, just got to checking out my aircraft before, for that day. It was an evening time, roughly, I guess, maybe an hour before sunset, not too much before, give or take a minute or two. But and I noticed this helicopter coming in it was buzzing in like real fast. It was a UH-1, and I thought for sure this thing's heading right straight for the flight line where I was at, and it looked like it was going to crash there. But this pilot was able to pull a flare and just drop it on a dime right there, boom, and he was on the ground. No incident there, but it was full, and when I looked at it, we didn't have our doors closed. We flew with our doors open, and they were pinned open. But inside on the floor was a bunch of soldiers, and they were just really wounded, really bad, blood everywhere, body parts, everything. And the door gunner jumped out. I don't remember the door gunner's name, but the crew chief was Sienbush. And anyway, big, huge gentleman. And he got out, he saw me, he says, "Give me a hand." And we started unloading these soldiers off this aircraft. And pretty soon other vehicles started pulling up there, and they started dragging these things off. And Skip was just really all cooked about this. He was he was the pilot in command, and he was yelling out, "Hurry, hurry!" And I knew something was up because earlier that day, about maybe a couple hours earlier, the TOC, which is the operations center anyway, there was a lot of chatter going on, and I didn't quite understand what the chatter was about, but evidently one of our units ran into a larger NVA unit, and they were just taking casualties really, really bad. And anyway, the door gunner on there looked like he was acting kind of weird, but what it came out to be, he was wounded. And so I asked, "Hey, you guys need any help?" He says, "We need a door gunner." Skip yelled out, "Door gunner!" And I hopped on. And he took off. And there I was with Skip Elibroke and Sienbush, two people I made real close friendships with. And we flew into this one LZ that just was, it was a mess. Anyway, now I'll digress to a certain situation and it kind of hits home a little bit, and maybe you can understand why certain veterans feel the way they do. My current date, I have 6 children. One of them, Daniel, he works for the military as a civilian contractor. He was active, but then he got out and he turned as a military contractor. And his wife is in the Air Force, and she's an E7. And anyway, I go out and visit him every once in a while. And one time he asked me, "You want to go to Washington, D.C.?" And I'm kind of disabled, really not very physically able anymore. But yeah, why not? So I went there. And he took me around and we saw a lot of things. And it was kind of interesting. Not really much I'm not much one for enjoying my government because I don't trust them at all. I don't trust them at all. I don't trust what they do. I don't trust what their agendas are. Maybe some people say, "Well, that's a conspiracy." No, it's a flat ass fact. Okay, but anyway, and he took me to this one park. Part of the Washington, I think they call it the mall. It's no mall. It's actually a big old huge piece of property with the lake going down. It shows the one side White House, the other side has the Washington Monument, or that little spiral there. But anyway, near there was this Vietnam War Memorial they built there. And he says, "You want to go see it?" And I kind of, son, I really appreciate that, but there are things that I just don't want to visit anymore. And that's one thing. The reason being is because I know I can go to that board and I can find the names of certain people that are on there and that it shouldn't be. And sometimes I feel that I should be on there. And anyway, I guess some people call it regret, the one left behind. And I feel that really strongly sometimes. And when I went to that memorial that my son took me to, and sure enough, there they were. Some real close friends, real good leaders, real good men that died because my government did real bad things. And I mean real bad. Caused a lot of soldiers to die in the name of our country. The thing is our soldiers did do what they were supposed to do. They did fight. We had a few bad apples, but for the majority of all those soldiers that died over there, I mean the major majority, it just said, and it hurts my heart that my government were crooks and caused that. Anyway, with that in mind, that's how I met Skip Elibroke. Now, Skip and I became real close friends. He went over to the OH-6 helicopters and flew those for a while, and I was his observation / crew chief of that aircraft. And we had a lot of good times in there. I mean, we did our job, what we were supposed to, search and find the enemy and for the Cobras to take over and deal with. But anyway, and we did some things that to us, because Vietnam really messed us up in our minds, in our brains. We did some really crazy things. And Ron Sienbush with Skip, myself. We were like a trio. Real good. Now Skip is on that wall. And so is Rick, Steven, little Jagabowski, a little short guy about that tall. He was our tunnel rat. God, he was short. We had to put a back, if it was a high wind around or something, we had to put a backpack with rocks on him because he was so small. And he's on that wall. The only friend I ever had that wasn't on the wall, that he's since passed away, is Robert Blackwell. He came back with also came back and he lived a long life out there in Virginia, and passed away from complications. And the last one that's not on that wall is Ron Sienbush. I don't know where Ron is, but he's out there somewhere. And he's a big man. So if you know a guy named Ron Sienbush, he stands about 6'3", 6'4", around there. Maybe weighs about 245, 260, around there. He can pick up a car and throw it at you, you know. I mean, he can. He's big. He's strong. Whoa. God, that man was strong, but had a heart like just golden. But I know he's kicking around somewhere. And I think he's from, no, he's not from Butte, Montana. That was somebody, I don't know where he's from. But there's a short little ditty, guys. You asked for it, you got it. 11 minutes, 12 seconds. Y'all keep your powder dry.